Good morning, YouTubers. I think it's still morning. I think it's probably close to 10 o'clock. And it is Thursday, April 26th, 2018. And I'm still in Blue Jay. So today what I'm going to be doing is, I mentioned a miscalculation from last night. So I'm going to be correcting that this morning and then starting on pod 2. Woohoo! But I'm almost out of wood again, so I'll get what I can done and then go from there. I also found some hinges online for about a fourth of the cost of that I've seen them everywhere else, and they're supposed to be here today, so I can start working on those doors. So I'm going to go outside and show you what I'm talking about for these repairs, and then we'll get started. Okay. On the roof, you'll remember that I made a notch for this piece of 2x2 here so that the plywood could go around it. And then I've got another 2x2 that goes all the way across this way that supports the roof across this length. And then the plywood fits up underneath this ridge here so that water falls off and then hopefully down the roof and not back up that way. What I failed to do was account for this distance here. So my 2x2 that runs across the roof that direction actually starts over this 2x2, and there's an interference problem here. So what I've got to do is remove the 2x2 from this segment, and then we should be good to go. Okay, I've marked off how far in I need to remove the material. So I need to remove everything on this side of the line. So from here over, this piece needs to come out. I've set the depth of my skill saw so that it goes just short of actually going through this 2x2 so that I'm not cutting into the plywood underneath it, just through this 2x2. Okay, so there's our cut. You can see it's gone almost all the way through, if not all the way through that 2x2, and not even touched this plywood. So setting that depth is critical. Now what I'm going to do is get a wood chisel and come under here to break this adhesive layer right here. Okay, so I've got this removed. Tore up the wood a little bit. That Gorilla Glue is aptly named. So I'll do a little bit of repair work here. Also had a screw holding in this section of the wood, so I've got to patch that hole. But I think that this will work. I think we're good. We'll go get the other side down here. Another clean cut. All the way through, if not very close, but all the way through the 2x2, and as you can see, we didn't even touch the plywood here. So that's exactly what you're looking for, and the important thing is to set this depth. I mean, every saw is different. I've got a little screw back here that I can change the angle of this base and set the depth of the blade so that I can determine how far I want to cut. So be sure to do that. Okay, so we've got allowance for those pieces that I showed you. I'm going to go ahead and check fit, probably pull it back down and do a little bit of repair work to this wood and let it dry overnight while I work on pod 2. I like, just a side note, you'll notice I've put all my tools away. I like to do that. You know, especially now that I'm getting old, I forget where I put stuff. So I find that if I, after every thing that I do, I put my tools back where they belong. It takes a little more time, but at least I know where they are, so I save the time in the long run because I'm not wandering around looking for stuff. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and throw the roof up there now, and you know, fair warning, I was hot yesterday, so I've got on my my thin shorts today with my dark black socks. Again, thank you, Stephen, for noticing that. I'm still convinced that I'm going to set a fashion trend. So, all right, let's get that roof up. Okay, looks like we're successful. Okay, so here's how that fit's supposed to look. Here's the notch that I told you about. And then this is the area of concern that I have. So this is a pretty big hole right here. But if you look underneath, it's right here. So it's on the outside of this wall. So any water that comes here should just run down this wall. I'm not saying that I'm not concerned about this area. I am. Because, I mean, this is an ingress point right here. But what I'm planning on doing, so water is naturally going to flow off this way and down. The capillary action that I told you about, or wicking, was the term that I was given from my discussion yesterday. And what I'm going to do is attach something up here, probably some flexible rubber, Buna rubber, or maybe I'll just put a little bit of a ledge out here so that it extends past this. So this will all be covered. Flashing rubber, I think rubber probably worked the best, but so that's the plan. Same for both sides. Here it is from the inside. And what we're looking at now, this is the outside outboard wall. This is the end wall. And you can see that these 2x2s are overlapped. This plywood extends that way past this plywood. So water would have to come up this way and through this way to get in. And it may still do that. I don't know. Sandy, I hear your voice in my head when I'm talking to you about this, and you're saying if there's a way, it'll find it. So I'm going to watch this area. And if it becomes a problem, then I've got some other ideas, and maybe I'll bring those to bear when and if the time comes. Okay, taking a little break here. God, I can't believe how hot I am. I think the high today is going to be 70. I'm at about 5,200 feet. I don't know, I guess living in Colorado all those years has kind of gotten me used to colder temperatures than what I'm experiencing, so so I'm stopping to take a break and cool off a little bit. So, alright, you know, I'll continue on. I'm going to go ahead and set up to start getting what I can done on the on pod 2. Pod 2, wow, did we think the day would ever come? I'm going to get the legs up. I've posted some discussion, some replies, I think it was to Tiny Metal Tube, about the leg situation, you know, how to secure those and that kind of thing. And I think I mentioned something about making them so that they fit straight down instead of angled like they are right now. They kind of come under the pod a little bit. And I'm actually growing to like that because it makes it more simple to set the walls up. I can reach under with my leg and kind of kick the leg up, and it allows me to adjust the pod base up and down until I find square. So I'll use the sidewall itself. The sidewall is, you know, like up against the trailer. I'll adjust the base until I feel it go square, and then I'll let the leg down and it'll hold it there. And it's actually a pretty cool little assembly technique, and I kind of like it. So I think maybe what I'll do is leave the angle, and then to help abate any kind of potential lift that, you know, might cause the leg to not hold me up anymore, I'll drive a stake in the ground. I'm thinking about putting a metal loop on it so that I can drive the stake through the loop and into the ground, so that leg will be secure right where it is, but it'll still hold the weight. So, all right, moving on. Okay, so I've measured the legs on pod 1, and they're 41 inches long. So we're going to cut 2 legs 41 inches long for pod 2. Then I'm going to bolt it in place using these, I think they're called T-hinges. Yeah, T-hinges. Quarter 20 bolts, about an inch long. These are nylon locking quarter 20 bolts, and these are fender washers. They're larger than a standard quarter-inch washer, so they distribute weight across the wood a little better. And the idea is to get them snug and not deform the wood. Probably require tightening over time. And let's get those cut. Okay, so here's the hinges, taking them out of the package. And these are going to sit this way when the pod is folded up into travel position and the legs are up against the pod base. So this part here will be bolted to the base of the sleeping pod, and then this part here will be bolted to the top of the leg. It's important to get this plane straight so that let me put the camera down. Howdy YouTubers. Sorry for the abrupt end of that video. As I was just beginning to explain that next step there, somebody came up and asked me to leave the cul-de-sac, so I had to pack up my trailer and move back to the little parking spot down by my dad's house. So kind of stopped work for the day. Not quite sure how I'm going to get pod 2 done. I need to be able to fold it out, and I can't do it where I'm parked, so I don't know. I've got some thinking to do and see if I can't work my way around this problem. So update for the day is, I mean, it's pretty obvious, you know, what I got accomplished. We got that roof in, and it fit just fine. And I think that, you know, be able to overcome any water ingress issues, hopefully. And I'm still planning on being on the road here within the next 2 weeks. So I don't know, been here and done that before and haven't made it, so I hope this time it sticks. Alright you guys, again, appreciate your comments, questions, views, subscriptions, and all of that. So we'll see you tomorrow. Later.